Ladies and gentlemen, your boy Fuse is back with the first of many guides on Marvel Rivals. This will be the start of a series where we break down every character, so be sure to stick around, like and subscribe if you enjoy the guides. So, welcome to playing Groot. As the mighty tree of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot may seem like a slow powerhouse, but he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Let's break down on how to master Groot and harness his powers to claim victory. The key to playing a great Groot is understanding Groot's strength and weaknesses. Groot is a resilient, tanky character with a focus on crowd control and defensive play. He excels in close combat and can take a lot of damage, but he may struggle against fast, ranged opponents if not properly managed. Groot's main strengths are that he has high health and great defensive stats. He's got a strong area of effect with his abilities, and he utilizes crowd control through his roots and vines to redirect and block off enemies. So to counter this, his weaknesses are, he's got very slow movement speed. He's got a very limited range with his attack options, meaning he has to utilize his wall strategically. He's also very vulnerable to high-speed opponents if caught off guard. Now we're going to go over Groot's basic attacks and how to master them. So Groot's basic attacks are rooted in powerful physical strikes such as Wooden Fist and Vine Lash. Use these to clear enemies in close-range combat. So for the Wooden Fist, it is a heavy punch that can knock back enemies, great for staggering opponents and creating space. As for Vine Lash, it is a quick whip of vines that can hit multiple enemies in front of you, dealing medium damage, ideal for controlling space and stopping aggressive enemies. Pro tip is to try and hit a Vine Lash to hit multiple opponents in a crowded areas. It's fast and it's efficient and it does 70 damage. So that just about covers Groot's basic attacks. He has a very low difficulty and he is extremely easy to use. So we're going to roll right into his special abilities and his special attacks. Groot has a range of abilities that makes him a formidable tank and an area control character. Here's a breakdown of his special abilities. So he's got the Roots of the Forest, which is ability 1. This move lets Groot summon massive roots that trap enemies in a small area, immobilizing them for a short duration. It's fantastic for crowd control as it allows you to focus on a single target or block an escape route from multiple enemies. This is also good for using as choke points, as we'll talk about later in the video. Another good tip when using the Roots of the Forest is to utilize it in narrow spaces where enemies have less room to maneuver. It will keep them stuck while you go to work with the Vine Lash. So with the Roots of the Forest, you do have two options. You have the smaller walls, which you can have up to 3 out, or you can have the large wall that is much heavier in health. And it does have a secret ability that a lot of people don't know about, which is the damage buff and the healing factor for your team. So using the walls to block off the objective or try and hold a point, it can be good early game, but what you really want to do is when you lure people into the objective, you want to block them off from the rest of their team, and then you can just go to work with that damage buff. So, moving right along, we're going to talk about Groot's ultimate, which is I Am Groot. Groot unleashes his full power, growing larger and smashing the ground with his massive fist, creating shockwaves that damage and disorient enemies within range. This move is devastating for dealing groups of enemies breaking through defensive lines. So, pro tip for that is when you use I Am Groot, his ultimate, when you're surrounded or need to push through a tough battle, it is also a great escape tool if you're concerned. You really want to target a large group of people because it'll just pull them in and really just stagger them. With Groot's ability being able to pull a bunch of enemies into one concentrated spot and preventing them to move, it is awesome to pair this with other people's ultimates, such as Jeff, such as Iron Man, anybody that can deal a lot of damage in a very small area with their ultimate. So be sure, as Groot, to let your team know when your ability is ready and to use it as strategically as possible to either cap the objective or progress your objective. So now that we've got all of his attacks and ultimate covered, we're going to just go over strategy tips. So for positioning as a tanky character, Groot thrives when placed in the right position. Try and get in between enemies and your allies to absorb damage. Always keep an eye on your surroundings and maximize the effectiveness of the Roots of the Forest. So you also have great synergy with allies. Groot works great with ranged characters as his abilities allow him to lock down enemies, making them easy targets for shooters or magic users. A big tip with Groot is that you can control the pace. While Groot, you may not have the fastest attacks, but you can control the pace of the game with well-timed Roots of the Forest and I Am Groot. Use these abilities to keep enemies at bay or turn the tide of battle in your favor. Alright, so the next topic we're going to cover, which is really going to make you stand out as a Groot player, is avoiding these common mistakes. One of the biggest ones is overextending, and that goes for any character. But for Groot specifically, Groot can tank a lot of damage, but he's not invincible. So be careful to not overextend into enemy's territory without backup, and always have a plan to retreat if things go south. Secondly, ignoring ranged threats. Groot has a limited ranged option, so be aware of enemies that can attack from a distance. When fighting ranged characters, try to close the gap quickly or use your Roots of the Forest to trap them. So with all this being said, our final thoughts on Groot is that he is an absolute powerhouse when used strategically. His abilities make him one of the best at controlling crowds and protecting allies. Use his Roots to set up enemies, make the most of his tanky nature, and focus on positioning yourself wisely. Once you master Groot's abilities, you'll be an unstoppable force on the battlefield. I promise. Good luck, and may the forest be with you. Alrighty guys, so it's Fuse. I just wanted to check in. So this is my first attempt at making a video like this where just gameplay with no sound and then trying to record over it. Let me know what y'all think. Honestly, this is a lot of work. I thought this would actually be a lot more simpler, but if you did enjoy the video and you stayed till the end, please drop a like, subscribe, comment, give me that constructive criticism in the comment section. I'm still new to editing. I'm still trying to figure this out, but I do appreciate anybody who has stayed to the end and watched. So thank you all for your support, and I'll be cranking out these guide videos as fast as possible. So with that being said, hope y'all have a great day.